So I currently sign about 10 clients every single month for my agency, and a significant portion of those are done with very little effort at all. Like seriously, it's on almost autopilot. And I'm going to show you how that process works in this video so that you can implement this into your own business. Now, if you're not familiar with me, my name is Ben Lister. I help agency owners, B2B business owners by documenting all of my learnings on this YouTube channel that currently help me to make about multi-six figures per year. So I'm going to dive into the computer, I'm going to build this process out, and I'm going to show you exactly what this looks like and why it works. Okay, so just to tell you about what we're actually talking about here and explain what's happening here is I'm getting these emails from people that I've spoken to previously who are basically wanting to come on board. And so these two emails here are from the last 2 weeks, I think, definitely within the month of April. And this is happening, a couple of times every single month now. And so I've blurred out obviously the information because I don't want to give away my client's information, but basically they're just saying that they want to come on board, and I haven't spoken to them for a little while. The follow-up sequence that we have has stopped, and so now we're basically able to onboard these people, and the emails just come randomly into my inbox saying that they're ready to come on board, and I'm going to show you how this actually works. Okay, so when you're doing your outreach or whatever you use to go and generate clients or generate calls, this could be outreach, could be YouTube, it could be paid ads, whatever it may be, you're obviously going to generate calls from this. Well, at least I hope you're going to generate calls from this. And when this happens, of course, you're going to go and have your little sales call, right? And so at this point, some of them close, some of them won't close. And so you'll be in a situation where you have some clients, right? And then you have some that aren't clients. And just to make this obvious, what we're talking about here, we're going to have clients up here. Okay, and so what we're focusing on here is we're focusing on this section because every single time you have a call, there'll be two options. They either become a client or they don't become a client. And so now we're in this point where they're not right. And we're going to start to build quite a big base here. So once you've done 100 calls, 200 calls, 1,000 calls, at least 800, 700, whatever it may be, quite a lot of them are not going to be clients, right? They're going to not have closed for whatever reason. And the significant portion of the time that I take sales calls, if someone doesn't close, they just probably get put into some kind of sales pipeline that is there in the world somewhere, right? It's not something that's really official. It's not something that I track all the time and I have all of these prospects in there. It's something which people are aware of the service that we have now. And so they are somewhere in this funnel, right? Maybe they are in the awareness stage. Maybe they're in the purchasing stage. And so maybe they just need a week to come on board, right? Maybe they need 6 months to come on board. Maybe they've just put my service in the back of their mind, and then the next time this problem occurs, or if this problem gets worse that they're currently facing, then they're going to come back and actually speak to me. And so for all of these guys, right, let's say each one of them has about a 1% chance of actually coming back and deciding, this is the person for me. Okay, so if we do this once and we just have one person in here, then the chance that this is going to actually convert into a close into a new client is going to be 1%, right? And so it doesn't work in the same mathematical sense that if you have two of these people all of a sudden, that doesn't equal 2% chance, right? Because just because you have 100 people, when you get to 100 people that are in this position, it doesn't mean that you have 100% chance of actually signing a client now, right? Because they all could have the 1% chance, the 99% chance that they don't actually come on board, right? And so, but what you're starting to see here is that the more and more people that we get onto this point, it basically becomes inevitable that someone will reach out to you and says, okay, now I'm ready to come on board. And so this is the process here that a lot of people have, but maybe they don't even realize it because it's such a lack of a process. It's almost like an anti-process, an anti-system, where there's no system going on here. It just happens by nature. You close the call, or so you don't close the call finishes, but the person doesn't actually sign with you. And so now they just go into this weird funnel, which is a funnel, but you're not actually controlling this, you're not actually managing this. And so if this is what you were doing, you might end up with 100 people in here, right? And I don't know what this would work out mathematically. You would probably have like 70, 80% chance or something like that. I could probably work this out, but it's kind of irrelevant. But what it basically means is that you're going to have a lot more chance, right? And we're not saying that every single person is going to have a 1% chance of coming on board, because some people might have more than that, some people might have less than that, right? This would just be like an average, right? And it's very difficult to actually know what percentage that would be. You could probably retrospectively go back and calculate it, but it wouldn't really matter for this because we're not looking to get into the numbers of things. This is just for me to really explain it, okay? And so let's say we have 100 people, right? And then this is going to work out as, let's say, an 85% chance of someone actually coming on board, right? So for every 100 people, we have an 85% chance of going and signing a client. Now, from my experience, this is actually a little bit higher. I think 1 in every 15 to 20, you're probably looking at about one client, but that's because I do different things as well. And so on top of this, in order to actually increase this percentage from 1% to 4, 5, 6%, whatever it may be, we can do a few different things. And so one of the things that I like to do is have an automated sequence where basically we are basically saying, what's your situation on this? Like, has anything changed? Because an awful lot of calls, as I'm sure you'll probably experience, they end without a real resolution, right? There's an objection, there's, maybe a money objection, maybe there's a fear objection, whatever it may be. And you're basically just going back to this person and saying, okay, like where are you at with this? Like, are you still ready? Like, we're still happy to bring you on board. And so you can have this process where we have this really long email sequence of like 20 emails over the course of a few months, where we're just basically sending them information and sending them, okay, like we're still confident that we can do this for you, and so we want to go ahead, right? And so this is an automated basis. This is on autopilot. It doesn't take me any work, doesn't take me any effort to do this. And then we also have the play as well, which I like to do, which is where we incorporate content as well. And so let's say, for example, we have nothing in here. This is like the anti-system that I was talking about, right? And then all of a sudden, what we're going to do is we're going to start to include a little bit more. So instead of nothing, right, we're going to have the automated emails, right? And so this is no longer not going to be 1% anymore. This might be the 2%, right? And then when we have 2 people that come on board here, this might then be, 4%. It doesn't work out exactly 4%, it'd probably be a little bit less. And so then when we have 100 people on board here, the chance of us closing a client here would be like 200% or something like that, right? Or I think it would work out as like 50 would be like 100%. So one in every 50, we're basically going to get a client, okay? Now, the maths is probably off on this because there's never going to be a 100% chance that something happens, but you get the point, right? So when I start to open this out and I'm doing automated emails, I can do content, right? I can do some kind of promotions, right? So say like we're having like an exclusive part of the service, right? So maybe you get like some kind of extra thing with it. Maybe I'm going to talk about new things that we're actually doing with the service, right? So there's new service, or just new services, right? So we're going to talk about there's a new specific thing that we're doing here. So like for us, for example, we do B2B lead generation. We might say, okay, we've now have this new system that we're running, right? Would you like to try this? And so we're basically just hounding these people and just basically going through again and again and again. And so if you imagine they have this objection as almost like a wall in front of them, let's say it's the money objection, right? So the money objection is pretty difficult to overcome. You can do it if you know what you're doing, but they have this idea that the service isn't worth a certain amount, right? Because either they don't trust you, or they don't think you've done enough work, or they don't think the service is actually going to get them the result that they want. Whatever reason, they think that the service should actually cost less than it actually is, okay? But if we are constantly hitting them, if we're constantly kicking this ball against the wall, and we're saying, what about this? What about this? What about, all this content we have here? What about these testimonials that we have here? What about these new services that we have, and this promotion that we have here? And we're just slowly knocking that wall down bit by bit by bit. And this can take months at a time, because we can't send someone one email with all 10 of these pieces, or every single piece to this puzzle. We have to do this over a series of weeks and months, where maybe twice a week we're going to send them an email and we're going to say, hey John, look at this that we're doing right now, right? And the sole intention of these emails is to just wear people down and wear those objections down, because you have a pool of clients, a pool of prospects that did book a call with you but didn't actually close. And so now these are the best kind of people, because they know your service inside and out, right? They were very, very close to actually coming on board. They at least have the problem that you're trying to solve for them. So, or else why else would they actually jumped on a call if they didn't have the problem in the first place? And so these are the best kind of prospects, right? And every single time that you chip away at these people and they do come back, either their problem is getting worse and so they need someone to come and solve it for them, or you are actually just proving that your service and your product is worthwhile and they should actually go and invest in it. And so this is what happens when you send people through an automated sequence. You keep yourself at the top of their mind. So every single time they face this problem, they're going to come back and they're going to think, maybe I should have gone with that person. Maybe I should have brought that service. Maybe I should have actually come on board at that certain date, right? And oftentimes it takes a little bit of guts for prospects and for potential clients to come and do this and to, reach out to you and say, like, I'd like to come on board. It's like their tails between their legs a little bit, because, they've told you no, you've had a bit of a back and forth and stuff, maybe you tried to handle the objection, they've said no, and then now they've realized that actually the service could be something which would be valuable, and so they have to come back to. And obviously it's not the best thing and it's not the most fun thing in the world to ever do. And so I'm trying to think of ways to actually make it so that would be easier for clients, but I think this is pretty deep and very, very psychological to actually do. But if a client does come back to you and they do actually reach out to you again in the future, it means that their problem is pretty strong in order for them to do so. And so if you're able to obtain clients this way, or prospects this way at least, these are going to be your best kind of clients. These are going to be clients that are going to be happily taking on, the new service that you have. You're going to be able to raise your prices with these clients. They're going to be better clients in general. Like, they'll listen to you a little bit more. And so just because you're just constantly reminding them of who you are and basically what you do and why it works and why they should actually come on board, you're going to be able to obtain a significant portion of your clients just by doing this right, because you have got this huge pool of database, this huge pool of people, this database that you have of people who had a call and they didn't actually close, but you just don't actually know it. And you're in the minds of these people somewhere. Maybe they've forgotten about you, so obviously, it's going to be pretty difficult to go and start sending out emails to these people now. But every single time you have a call that doesn't close, I mean, it depends on the objection, of course. You don't just want to add every single person in. If someone is, you've got a follow-up call scheduled for or something like that, you don't want to put them through this generic sequence. But you want to sign them up to this newsletter. You want to sign them up to this email sequence and basically just show them everything that's good about your service. And eventually these guys will come back to you, just like they have in my circumstance. But yeah, if you incorporate this into your business and you actually step this up, so you are incorporating automated emails, the content, you are showing them testimonials, all that good stuff, then you're going to sign a lot of clients and you're going to make a lot of money. By the way, if you are looking for more clients for your agency, click the first link in the description. It's not some sign up, some email ups or anything like that. It's literally just a video of me explaining what my company does, how we've done this many times before, the kind of results that we've had in the past. But yeah, I don't really care if you click it or not. It doesn't really affect me. If you want to just watch these videos and implement the learnings from that, that's completely fine. But yeah, if you like the video, like it, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.